Welcome, church, to the Heights June Develop Time. My name is Marissa Bremling. You maybe have seen me around. I serve on our church council. I get to spend time with some really great people on a monthly basis to guide the direction of the church from a financial perspective, as well as just business insight. A lot of my background comes from the business world. I spent nearly a decade working for my family's business in various leadership roles and helping start another company, and recently moved on to more of a support role, which I've really enjoyed. So for context today, I am speaking about Christian entrepreneurship, Christians in the business world, business owners and entrepreneurs, like I said, but also from a context too of leaders in the workplace. As Christians, we are all leaders. It doesn't just necessarily lie in maybe the owner or the CEO or the manager. You are a leader. And so that's something that you really should be mindful of in your day-to-day interactions with people, whether you have that title or not. You are a leader. So the values you uphold, the Christ-focused way that you interact with others, with your customers, with your coworkers, the way you carry yourself, the way you care about others, that all matters. People are watching. People are looking at you because they want to understand why you are different than the way they see other people doing business or leading. So the way you interact is important, especially in times of crisis. As we are still in really an unknown time, uncertainty kind of gets people, not really knowing what direction they should head, how they should act. So our true self shines through pretty clearly in times of crisis. So as we start, tell yourself that you are a leader. That's an important perspective to have. The way you speak to yourself, the mindset you have matters. So don't tell yourself one thing in private and try to act another way around others, because it's going to get you in trouble. Ask yourself this question. Have you been the kind of person in your day-to-day interactions that truly reflect Christ? Again, people are watching, whether you realize it or not. So as a business leader, as a business owner, or as just a leader in this community, as a leader in your family, as a leader in your home, you can kind of take a lot of these principles that I'm going to touch on and use them as you see fit, kind of mold them to your specific situation. So obviously, with that question, some days are better than others. So are you learning each day? Are you taking maybe from your mistakes or from your successes and building upon that? Because if we're not learning from each day, then we're not doing it right. So be mindful of that. As I had said, I recently kind of moved from a very public-facing kind of leadership-focused role. I was in food service management for a number of years. And so I'm having been used to being upfront and speaking and leading and guiding. I now have taken more of a support role for a company that actually coaches CEOs and executives and helps to transform teams, leadership teams within companies for the betterment of the company's success and also for the teams that are surrounding them. So it's been fun to get to dive in deeper into the lives of leaders and really understand what makes them tick, and especially in the time we're in now. So, which is unprecedented, the nature of this crisis. If you just reflect back, as I was writing my notes down, I was thinking of how quickly things progressed, and it's kind of hard to reflect back on and really realize how it has affected you. So a question that I would pose to you is, if you haven't taken the time to really think about and process the things that you've lost, the things that you need to mourn the loss of, right? I recall when we got the notice that our kids were out of school for the remainder of the school year, not just for that initial 6 weeks. I think all three of us had a good cry for different reasons, and I'm not a crier. Some of you that know me well know that I'm not, but I had to think through all the things that I personally was missing out on, and then also the things that I was sad that my kids were missing out on. And so it's important to take that time to really reflect what's lost and to mourn that. So especially when something is unpredictable and unforeseen, you can think of ways that you maybe would have reacted differently, but again, moving forward with our thought process is the best way to go. So in the midst kind of all these firsts, the flurry of firsts, as a leader, you maybe were reactive in the beginning. Maybe you weren't thinking down the road because you didn't know what was down the road. So being proactive was probably not on your mind. So now that we are, through a lot of the firsts, and we hopefully have, an end at the light at the end of this tunnel, I would encourage you to consider taking more of an offense mindset. So what opportunities are present now in this time and then in the very near future, because this is an opportunity to invest in yourself and your employees and your customers and in your business. So opportunities like this are rare. The company I work for, we have been encouraging the leaders that we work with to really see this as an opportunity. Maybe that be from a perspective of you have more time to invest, right, in the success of your business or the future planning of your business, or maybe some leadership training within your own business or personal development, right, which is why you are watching this. We're developing ourselves for the betterment of those around us. So with that in mind, I want you to ask, how do you, a leader, make the most impact on those God has called you to serve? So think of your specific scenario, your role, maybe in your home or in your job. If you are a business leader, you are impacting people in a large way, especially in these times. And I do want to say, this is just a note that I wanted to make sure I address, that you may be a business owner and you may be in a really tough situation. You may not know if you're going to make it out of this. You maybe have been impacted, on a great level, and that maybe acting defensively is all you can do right now, because day to day you don't know what's coming. So I'm sorry that you're in that position. And if you are, I would encourage you to reach out to someone who can talk you through some options, encourage you, connect you with someone who can help. There are many business leaders in our church family, in our church body, and business owners who are willing to help you. So all you have to do is speak up. So whether that be to reach out to Jacob or Kim or someone that you're close to, resources are here to help you. So a verse that stuck out to me as I was preparing for this was Colossians 3:12, which is, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. I just thought that was a really good perspective for us to have on how we go into our day-to-day lives as leaders in the business community, as Christians, with a heart for the Lord, and also just as we create a path forward and really understand our impact on those around us. So another thought, if you've never heard of the term servant leadership, it very much applies to this scenario as well. So it's just a philosophy that puts the needs of employees first and helps people develop and perform as highly as possible. So, and then create success within your business. So if you, don't know much about the idea of servant leadership, it kind of is self-explanatory, but at the same time, there is quite a bit of research and books written on it. If you're interested in learning more, it's worth your time. So just a few thoughts specifically on that verse that I wanted to say. If you wake up each day and maybe you have a verse that you go to, or you just spend time reading through a plan on the Bible, I would suggest from a business, a business mindset, going out into the world, if you are clothing yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience each and every day, how do you remember that? So a few suggestions: write it on your mirror when you're getting ready. Maybe you read them over before an important meeting or interaction. one that I love, you set an alarm on your phone for various times throughout the day, and your alarm title is maybe one of those words, just as a nice little reminder of some ways that you want to clothe yourself and be present in the world. So first and foremost, you can't pour out of an empty vessel. So how are you caring for yourself? As a leader, it's important to be developing, both personally and professionally, but you have to take care of yourself. So as a believer, are you in the Word daily? Are you prayerful? Are you thoughtful about your interactions? Are you exercising? Are you eating healthy? Are you getting enough sleep? It's important to take care of yourself first. I know people refer to the term that you hear on an airplane, put your mask on, your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. So you need to fill yourself up and be healthy before you can give to others, because you are an example. And if you are not healthy, then others will follow suit. So how are you caring for those that work for you is kind of the second piece. So if you are putting others before yourself within your workplace, how are you caring for your employees? Are you engaging with them on a regular basis? I know personally for us, we are all working from home, which is a really unique scenario. So, could that be a text message if you have employees working from home? Are you doing maybe a weekly Zoom call where you all get to interact and share something personal about yourself? If you are in the workplace, if you happen to be an essential worker, just a simple hello, or how's your day, or is there anything I can do for you? Are you inquiring about their mental and emotional health? I know maybe that is, for a non-believer, maybe that's crossing a line that you are not interested in. But if we are acting differently in the workplace, how are we caring for someone as a person? Do you understand their unique situation? They have kids at home. Maybe they have a spouse that's not working. Maybe they're caring for a family member. Maybe someone within their house has been sick. Connecting with someone on a personal level is more encouraging than you might realize, especially as a lot of us are isolated and may not have the interactions that we're used to having. How are you caring for those that work for you, that you have been given the opportunity to guide and to lead? Are you creating a safe working environment for them? So that kind of plays into my next point also of, do you have a good return to work plan, or even just an opening plan? I know we're we're in phase 2, which, a lot of businesses are figuring out what does that look like with all these new guidelines to be open and to create a safe space both for your employees as well as your customers. So you might, there are a lot of great resources out there. If you are, have questions about any of that, I'm happy to help you walk through those. But if you don't already have a return to work plan or a plan on how to open, that's definitely something that needs to occur sooner than later. A clear strategy for how you're planning for the safety of your customers and employees. There's just a lot of requirements there, but also to think differently about it, and maybe you're thinking beyond just the bare minimum requirements, right? Like maybe you engage with your employees and find out what would make them feel safe and secure at work. What would make them know that they're coming to a place where they can continue to invest their time and energy because you are investing in them as well. Also, have you thought through maybe a short-term and long-term goals to get through our current situation? So that also is helpful with your employees to know that you are thinking to the future. That's another way to care for them. So business as usual is no longer an option. I'm sure you have heard that term, and I'm hoping that you have thought through what that process looks like, because again, this is an opportunity for us truly to kind of reinvent ourselves, potentially reinvent our business model. Knowing what direction you're headed is important. There's still a lot of unknowns, but you personally spending time researching what that looks like within your industry, as well as within the community that we serve, is very important. How are you adjusting with your new operating climate in this industry? So if you are in food service, for example, there's a lot of things you have to think through, right, to keep everybody safe. If you are serving, or at DAA, where we get to have service, hopefully sometime soon, and get to see everybody's faces again. How are they operating? How are they keeping their customers safe as well as their employees? So, a well thought out and mindful of the impact on everyone who's involved, as well as clearly communicate that. If things change, be transparent. If you are unsure of what direction things are headed, be clear, because the more transparent you are, the more buy-in that you'll have from your employees, and you might be surprised at the level of impact you have just by being transparent and clear with your employees, by including them in that process. Looking back to our Colossians 3:12, compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Patience and humility are really important through this process for creating goals. There's just so many unknowns for the future. So really being patient and humble in the way we interact with others. So with that said, if you are interested, I'm happy to share some topics on a regular basis. Actually, for work, I get to curate articles and send them out to our contacts on our client list. And I kind of scour through lots of topics from various sources. And I've read a lot of things recently. So if you have specific struggles or specific needs or questions about anything, I'm happy to send you some articles, share with you some thoughts I have, connect you with someone else maybe within your industry that I might have a connection to. Again, we have lots of people within our church body who would love to be of service to you, because you are serving others. And so I hope that some of the words that I said have resonated with you. And thank you for your time and allowing me to serve you.